This video is based on a research paper that came out towards the very end of last year in Biology Letters, entitled "No Phylogenetic Evidence for Angiosperm Mass Extinction at the Cretaceous-Paleogene Boundary." And basically it's saying that in the last extinction event, which was when the dinosaurs became extinct and when a massive asteroid was supposed to have hit the Earth, that the main survivors of this were flowering plants, or angiosperms. And these plants have been able to survive because they're some of the toughest organisms on Earth. And one of the ways they can do this is by their resilience. And here's an example of an incredibly resilient plant, a conizer or horseweed. First of all, it produces huge number of flowers, and you can see it here, a huge plant growing out of a wall. How did it manage to do this, I wonder? And I think it's producing lots of seeds, many tens of thousands, so it's able to spread around, and these are on the wind. And here's another example, Epilobium adenocolon or ciliatum. And this plant produced tens and tens of thousands of seeds that are airborne on each plant. And the seeds are tiny, so they can blow incredible distances. So essentially a plant can escape by moving. Even though they're rooted in the ground, they can move through seed spread. And this plant is very clever, you can say, because it only releases the seeds when a wind is blowing. And here you can see the seed pod opening, and the seeds are visible there, but the pod doesn't release the seeds until there's a tuft of wind. So this is how this plant can spread around effectively. This plant is an epilobium, and one particular kind of epilobium has spread very rapidly. Here's another example of a wind-blown seed, a dandelion here, and you can see these seeds can spread incredible distances. But this paper here talks about the spread of Epilobium ciliatum in the British Isles, a willow herb, and it was first found in Britain, I think, in the late 1890s, and it's spread over the whole of the British Isles. And this paper explains how this happened. It was first, in the picture on the left, only plants were found in one or two places. Then 10-20 years later, the plant was spreading extensively in the southeast of the country, particularly around heavily populated areas where the plant seems to be preferring to grow. Later on, in the later 1900s, it had spread further north, and you can see the number of records of this plant going up considerably as the years went by. And in the 1980s, you've got this plant spreading over most of England and Wales, not making much impression on the north yet, but there are some plants appearing in Scotland. So you can say this plant is probably moving at about 10 kilometres per year from where it originally spread from. And you can see in the picture on the right here that this epilobium is now all over the British Isles and Ireland, even as far as the Orkney Isles. And it can spread because it's on the wind and it can move around. So these plants that are surviving an extinction event can spread quickly. And in this final picture here that I'll show you, we've got a map of the world, and this epilobium originally in the green area, that's where it was native, and then the red areas are where it spread to effectively in a fairly short time, we think, maybe a couple of 100 years. And you can see this plant is in the Arctic Circle, which may be a good place to hide.